Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now obviously there is this back and forth between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury about a possible fight. I mean, Tommy Fury is up for it. I'm not entirely sure whether Jake Paul is or not, but Carl Froch has weighed in and this is what he had to say. I wish he'd call me out. Easy money. All of them YouTubers are easy money. Let's be honest, come on. They can't fight. Jake Paul, Logan Paul. I've got absolutely no interest unless they want to call me out, and I'll go smash them all to bits. So there we go, that is what Carl Froch has had to say about this YouTuber crossover to boxing. Now, with regards to YouTubers becoming boxers like Jake Paul and Logan Paul, even KSI, I wouldn't necessarily consider it as boxers who can go on to challenge for a world title or even challenge real boxers one day. I consider it to be something completely different. Is it good or bad for the sport? It can go either way, just like anything, there can be both sides to it. It can be good because it brings more eyes to the sport, but also it can be bad because there are situations where they do say certain things that maybe shouldn't be linked to the sport of boxing. Certain videos get made and certain things get said that could be damaging to the sport, and in the ring as well, things need to be safe because they aren't real fighters, so someone could get hurt. The main thing is everyone's safe and they are evenly matched, I guess. The way I've seen it so far is the ones who do it properly obviously are the ones who get the victories. Logan Paul, I believe, was training in his backyard for the fight with KSI. He had a ring put up and he wasn't even training in a real boxing gym. So that tells you all you need to know. I know, yes, he may have trained hard and prepared, but still, KSI trained in a boxing gym, so therefore he won. Whereas there are fights such as Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders. Now that is a real boxing fight. Those are the kind of fights that real boxing fans will get interested in. And of course, this is just Carl Froch latching on to what has been going on in recent times. I don't believe any of them would call out someone like Carl Froch, so they'd be very silly too. And even if they did, there was no way that anyone like Jake Paul would get in the ring with Carl Froch. It's just not going to happen. But still, Carl Froch says, if you want to call him out, then do it. He'll get in the ring, he'll smash them up, earn the big bucks because it's easy for him just to come out of retirement and have basically a sparring session with someone who doesn't really know what they're doing and to take the big money. So Carl Froch, I don't believe is serious about fighting this guy because he knows it will never happen. I don't even see Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul actually happening. Nothing like that is going to happen because the thing is, Tommy Fury is building himself for a career in boxing, whereas we don't really know the angle from Jake Paul at the moment. He fought a YouTuber, which was Anderson Gibb, I believe he was called. Then Nate Robinson, a basketball player, so he moved on to a sports person. Now he's fighting a wrestler. He is a UFC or MMA fighter, but he's more of a wrestler with very little striking ability in a boxing ring, where striking is the only thing you can do. So when you consider that, he is moving on and actually fighting a real fighter, but he's not fighting a real boxer. So Jake Paul is yet to fight an actual boxer, whereas Tommy Fury is consistently fighting real boxers. Yes, they are not of a high level because he's just coming through. He's only had 5 professional fights, and he is building towards something like an English title, then moving on to British, then maybe European. Then he can start talking about World Championships. Obviously, that's like 5 or 6, maybe 7 years away for Tommy Fury, but they are completely different aspects of the sport when you think about YouTube boxers and you think about someone like Tommy Fury. That is why I don't see these fights ever coming off, because is he really going to go from Ben Askren to Tommy Fury? And then you hear stuff like Logan Paul calling out Floyd Mayweather because that is something that is happening also. One big guy versus one little guy. The little guy has an abundance of talent and is a legend of the sport. The big guy doesn't really have a clue. We saw that KSI fight. Doesn't really have a clue how to navigate himself in a boxing ring. And he's talking about fighting and beating up unbeaten fighters in sparring. I don't see it. I really don't see it. But if that's the kind of confidence he wants to take from some sparring sessions, then fair enough. In that fight, Floyd Mayweather does exactly what he wants when he wants. The same thing would apply even if it was Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. Tommy Fury decides when that fight ends and when he takes him out. Simple as that. That is exactly what would happen because he's a fighter and he has been trained to fight, whereas Jake Paul is someone who has crossed over and doesn't necessarily have the same kind of mentality, whereas Tommy Fury is someone who is working on his craft in the sport of boxing. So he is working towards something other than a fight with Jake Paul. As I said before, I don't really see the angle from Jake Paul. It is hard to see what it is from his point of view that he expects to get out of the sport of boxing. I mean, you have to give him some kind of credit for getting in the ring and fighting, because that does take an immense amount of courage to actually get in there and fight someone else. But if you look at the levels when he's talking about someone like Tommy Fury, I mean, in fact, Jake Paul never said he would fight him. He did take the mick and say certain things, but he never actually said he wanted to fight him. Tommy Fury said, "Come on, let's do it. I'll fight you anytime, any place, anywhere." But Jake Paul just came back with some snarky remarks, but never said he wanted to actually get in the ring with Tommy Fury. And who knows, one day maybe that might happen. He might actually fight a real boxer. I believe that is possibly what he is working towards. A YouTuber, a real sportsman and a basketball player, then a real fighter, but a UFC fighter. Maybe next, it will be an actual boxer, but I guess we just have to wait and see. Guys, anyway, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.